All right, Business Academy family, what's going on? It's Ethan Dangberg here, and I'm super pumped today to be able to share with you one of our main keynote speakers for ElevateCon happening April 24th to the 26th. David Lee Jenson is taking some time today to share with you guys some key points of how he's going to help you take your speaking game to the next level. I mean, we are lucky to have this guy on board. He's been on some of the biggest stages that I'm aware of, having shared the stage with the likes of Richard Branson, Grant Cardone, Ariana Huffington, Les Brown, and so much more. In fact, there's a big event happening in the greater Tampa area. It's going to have like 10,000 people or something sharing the stage with Kevin Harrington. It's going to be huge, right? So you're volunteering some time today, David, to share some key things as to what they can expect from your keynote at ElevateCon and actually get them to work on a few things that they can put into practice right away. So first off, David, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Ethan. This is super cool. And by the way, you're hired. You can promote me to anyone. You made me sound like a total rock star. I want to go see me speak now.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I'm just excited to be able to share the stage with you at ElevateCon for our convention. I mean, and you're also, one thing that's getting me excited too is you've had a chance, you've started the Create Your Future community, which is in the thousands from all around the world. And you've also been on stages all around the world. So you're no stranger to public speaking, obviously, and you're no stranger to creating communities and ecosystems that are following your brand. I know that's a lot of our members of the Business Academy and doctors are really all about creating a brand and creating a community around their vision of health and wellness and of driving not just new patients into their office, but changing lives throughout their community. So I've always learned from speakers like you that it's one of the biggest hacks that we all have, and the cheat codes to being an amazing leader is being able to speak confidently on stage and to get your message across. I know there's 6 steps for speaking success you were going to share in the next 10 or 15 minutes for today's webinar.
Man, way to go.
I said it, I practiced it 10 times before we started, the 6 steps for speaking success. And I think this will give a peek, David, into not just what you do to help, corporate executives, professional speakers, but even also small business owners from around the world to be successful to get their message out. But maybe you could share a little bit first about your background, and then we can go into those 6 steps.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much. My background's simple. I was a corporate executive and got kind of sick and tired of that and decided I'm going to break out and have my own business as an entrepreneur. I wrote a book, created a course platform, the Hiring Academy, and then started speaking on different stages, everywhere from Apple to Google to, all these Fortune 50 companies. And it was super exciting to see that what I was talking about was applicable to them. But along the way, I learned about this glossophobia. And glossophobia, though it sounds like we're all gonna die, is actually the fear of public speaking. And of course, I do not have that in any way, shape, or form. I love to be energized and help others from stage. It's really my true purpose in life. So I quit the day job and went out and started to do that. And along the way, came up with these 6 core elements that if you can put into, even as a CEO, chiropractor, doctor of any other types or forms, you can use it in the boardroom or on stage, and it allows you to convey your message better and to usually make more money because you're communicating so clearly that then the patient or the client or the buyer learns to know you, to like you, and to trust you. And that now, makes for great success in your life. And that's why we call it 6 steps for speaking success.
I'm loving that. One thing too, David, I learned from reviewing this with you and learning your system is that it is a system. There's no guesswork. And once you practice it and use it, you can take what was a fear of public speaking into a confidence of impact and influence, not just for the doctor on a stage to convert a new patient. Of course, it makes your lunch and learns work better. It makes your dinner talks work better. It allows for your community speaking opportunities to work better, for your branding. But I've also noticed, even in general, like these could be used for office managers, for practice owners, to run a great staff meeting, to inspire a team to get into action, to run a great training to get the team behind a leader. And I can't wait to go into this. I know we're going to talking about it for a while, but I think the anticipation is killing our viewers. Let's dive into these 6 steps for speaking success. Of course, we're going to learn all about this at ElevateCon. We're going to be practicing this April 24th to the 26th, but maybe you can give us a little tease as to what we're going to learn about there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm super excited. The ElevateCon platform, everything you provide for the providers is incredible, and that's why I'm really proud and happy to be a part of it. April 24th through April 26th. And that is what we're going to tackle, is the culture in the office place. And I know a lot of your providers from us, knowing each other a while, and your program, which is incredible. You have sometimes scripted, lunch and learns, and you have scripted, how to do the, free massage leading to this and that. You have all these scripted things. So this isn't going to counteract that. We're not throwing that, out, or the baby with the bathwater or whatever. What we're adding is the core elements of confidence and leadership to it, so that it elevates. At ElevateCon, it's going to elevate your ability to pitch those things. So I will give you what those are. The first one is message. And it's funny, people do have, we'll talk about specifically there that 77% of people have a complete fear of stepping on stage, any public speaking at all. And 18% of them, which is just outrageously shocking to me, would rather die than step on stage. So that's pretty crazy. So if I can give you any elements that help you overcome that fear just enough to now create that know, like, and trust with your audience, with your patient base, or your future possible patient base, and even your staff in your office space, that's going to be, super valuable, I would hope. So the first one is message. The more you know your message, the more you know what you're talking about, the more confident you are, right? If I said, hey, you don't know anything about soccer, so will you tell me about football and blah, 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 and now you have to tell me about it, and you don't know anything about it, you're going to stumble, you're going to have your you're going to have your uncertainty and not do great at public speaking about that. So if you get a strong message and you understand it well, then you're going to be great. And that leads to number 2, which is confidence. And if you have the understanding the message, it gives you a little bit more confidence. And then we're going to give you a couple secrets for that. I'm not going to share on this little promo. That's why to come to ElevateCon, because you're going to learn the secrets to creating confidence to going on stage.
And when you went over that with me, I just got excited. I've never done a training like this. So just for everyone watching, it's going to be great. It's going to take your game to the next level.
It's kind of neat. And hopefully, everybody on here will come to ElevateCon and they'll get to see us banter. And I'm going to tell on him of the things. He's a pro speaker, amazing at what he does, gets incredible feedback. And I told him like this one thing and he was like, oh my Lord. So you're going to get really high level secrets to speaking success. The next one is content. Number 3 is content. And that just kind of backs up. If you got a great message, well, if it doesn't communicate to people, if you don't have the confidence to deliver the message, and then you don't have the substance to the message, then it starts to fall apart. So that third in sequence is content. Now you build your content so you're proving you know what you're talking about, you're pushing the buttons of what your clients or future patients need or want. It's that whole element of how do you say it? Sell them what they want and then give them what they need. And I know we do that in this profession because they're like, oh, I just need I need my back cracked, right? Which I know you guys hate when that's said. But the fact is if you then can give them the education of what that popping is and how you're going to put them in an adjustment program, and then how there's other things that they can do in physical therapy and all of that, now you've got content to your message, you see?
Absolutely. That's great. I think that's really good. So I think sometimes, David, without proper messaging at any kind of a talk that you're hoping to attract new patients from, it's very easy to get lost into the body of the talk. Right. Without a clear direction as to what is the message I'm trying to convey and how is my content aligning to moving the patient in that direction. And sometimes confidence issues kick into play and you kind of go in 9 different directions during your talk and you kind of lose your audience. So I know we're going to be tackling that as a big part of what we're going to be practicing at ElevateCon as well.
Absolutely. And what you said actually resonates with me, because I've been at a lunch and learn type thing where they said, we're going to talk about, and I'll just make something up, testosterone levels, this and that and the other. And you get in there and you want to soak up this information, and then the whole talk's on diabetes, or something like completely, because their content didn't match their message, or they're a diabetes clinic, and then they spend the whole talk about testosterone, right? Like you really want to make sure that your message and your content connect. And then the fourth one, which really supports putting those things into place, is mechanics. And that's, what do I do with my hands? Am I supposed to, and I'll save the answer to this till ElevateCon, but am I supposed to just picture the audience naked? Is that a correct thing? And all of the mechanics of how should you hold a mic, or what size crowd should you have a mic at versus, do you just communicate to them? All the mechanics of speaking, we've got kind of a checklist of activities that we're going to put together from the Business Academy and Jenson Business Advisory.
That's great. I was at one dinner talk years ago, and it was interesting how just a couple key things you're going to cover, I noticed were not in place at this dinner talk years ago, and the mechanics weren't prepared and lined up correctly. The talk was great, but it started off really poor because the mechanics and the basics weren't in place. And that first 3 minutes in the beginning of the talk with the mechanics not in place, put them behind to start off their talk, which you want to be ahead by the moment you start.
That's right. We all know about short attention spans and what people actually listen to. And if you're establishing know, like, and trust is authority and understanding of the subject. And if you can't even pull off like having a microphone work or something like that, you lower your credibility, and you might then lower, maybe the patient will still sign up, but they won't be willing to sign that big, huge, long contract or that bigger package because they're still learning to trust you. And you definitely don't want to be in that position. So you got to have your mechanics correct and succinct. And like you said at the beginning, what we're going to share together is systemizing this for your practice. And that's going to make it really easy for you.
That's awesome.
The next one is engagement. Number 5 is engagement. And I think that's really, really, really important with chiropractors, with physical therapists, with clinic owners, because if you're not engaged, then you're just talking at someone, talking at them, and this is what you need, and this is what you're going to do, and da-da-da. And what happens? We all have seen it. I'm going to go home and think about this. I'm going to go home and research this. They're going to Google it and then find out they have cancer. Like
every time.
Sore back, right? Sore back equals cancer, right? Like as it does for everything else. So you have to engage them, get them to acknowledge what you're sharing with them and reciprocate. And then it's hook, line, and sinker. Then you can close the sale, which is actually number 6, sales. And sales just rolls in after the engagement. What do you need to ask that are selling questions? What do you need to hear that are buying questions? And when do you need to shut up? Very, very important in the speaking process. And all of this occurs, people say, oh, well, this is just like a system for, clinic sales or for talks or this or the other. No, you'll see how this works in the framework of whether you're doing an audience of tens of thousands or whether you're doing an audience of, a family of 4, right? You use the exact same elements to go through the system to create the desired result, which is knowing you, liking you, trusting you, and then, of course, buying from you, which is not, I think selling, one of the most important things about selling is caring about the person and actually giving them that service that's going to help them. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Sales gets sometimes thrown in with, used car salesman, and that's not what we're doing. We're selling them something so that we get a fair exchange for helping them survive longer and thrive longer, right?
So true. And I think that, as you mentioned that last point, I've noticed when I looked at your program and was integrating it with the Business Academy, I'm looking at this doesn't feel like a pitch from the stage. This is getting the audience excited to say yes. It's getting them motivated to make a change. It's getting them ready to make a decision. And so many times I've heard, David, where I think at Doc Struggles, they did a dinner, they had 15 people, and nobody signed up, and it was a bad audience. Or I'm an office manager, I ran a staff meeting, and it was a bad audience. It was the bad leads. Or I did a staff meeting and none of my staff engaged and they stare at me the whole time, right? And they don't know how to engage their team in a way using these 6 points to create a motivated audience to move into action, to make a decision, or to go to the next step. And I think that's what a big part of what we can solve at ElevateCon with this system and the breakdown of how to practice it at this event. So I know I can't wait for it. I know all of our audience members can't wait for it, April 24th to the 26th. Today was just a little hint, just a what I call a LaCroix taste, a little essence of what's going to be dialed in.
It's a crumble off the cookie. That's what we're giving. One chocolate chip, not a whole cookie full.
But I even think today, just in the last 15 minutes, anyone watching can start putting some of these ideas into practice, and then they can really dial it in at ElevateCon based on your presentation you're going to share. And it's going to be quick, it's going to be fast, it's going to be rapid fire. I think it's appropriate for the entire team. It's great for the practice owner, it's good for the office manager, but also for anybody watching that wants to build their career within your office and the practice that you're with. If you want to be a future leader, or you want to be great at sales, or you want to run a team someday, the tools that David's going to be sharing with us at ElevateCon are going to be more tools in your toolbox to advance your career. So I think it's going to be applicable across the board. So David, I know the entire event's going to be April 24th to the 26th. Any closing statements as to why every single chiropractor in their team should be attending ElevateCon?
I think because what's great is if my talk, which I know is going to be incredible, and it's going to add value, and it's going to put you in a position where you feel better about yourself and running your practice, and that's just one talk. I can't imagine all of these other things that ElevateCon is going to bring to these practice owners, and that's super cool. I'm gonna stick around and watch a lot of this myself so that I can kind of soak up that information. I really look forward to meeting your clientele who are at the highest level. It's going to be great.
Well, I just appreciate everything that you're going to be bringing to the table, and we're honored to have you. We're going to have you on our stage, and that means a lot, and be able to share that stage with you is going to be great. April 24th to the 26th, ladies and gentlemen, we are right around the corner. So click below, click the link, wherever it's at. If it's in the corner, get down there, click it, register your entire team, and we look forward to seeing you guys there. David, thank you for taking some time, volunteering some time out of your day to join us today.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Ethan. Looking forward to ElevateCon. Click the button below.
Click the button, guys. We'll see you there. Take care.